JT Crowley is Talking Books. On the show, you'll hear from emerging talent and seasoned veterans from around the world.
Hello, I'm JT Crowley. I'm the host of Talking Book Show on Web Talk Radio. And today I welcome back for the umpteenth time Linda Harkey from the United States of America, Edmonton in Oklahoma State, to be precise. She's an award-winning children's author. Now, the last interview we did was around her book, The Great Animal Escape, where we found Lobo and Mud Pie narrowly avoiding cowlick cooking school. And you certainly don't want to go there if you're a cow. Not nice. Their journey to new pastures was quite adventurous. And the assembly of characters that journeyed with them were certainly characters in their own right. Gracie, the burro wild donkey, Blue Moon, the scatterbrain raven, Bernie, the blue baby raven, and not forgetting Huntress, the cougar, with her two cubs. And prior to that interview, we chatted about Linda's book, Desert Friends, second edition, Travels with the Pack, a tale around four delightful characters in the Sonoran Desert. Rodney, the roadrunner, Quincy the quail, and Gator and Tripod, two German short-haired pointers. However, so they were the previous books, but we're going to focus this one, everybody, on the case of the Missing Pink Piggy. That's the book we're doing this time. And, well, a story about what's happened to Nini's favourite pink piggy toy. It goes missing, everybody. Where's it gone to? And so we have the characters Nini, who is the main character, and then we've got her brother Lobo. They are both German Shepherds. And then we have got Speedy, the pack rat. The pack rat. All very fascinating characters in this book. Now, if you want to know more about Linda's amazing books, then take a look at the written introduction on Web Talk Radio, Talking Books page. And there you'll find her webpage link and all her social media sites, plus a list of all the awards that she's won, and she's won an awful lot of them. She keeps sending them. Oh, I've got another one, John. I've got another one, John. And I'm going, oh, right. Nothing like bragging. And so anyway, let's invite Linda onto the show so that she can talk to us about her latest book, The Case of the Missing Pink Piggy. Linda, welcome back. I don't know how many interviews we've done, but welcome back.
Thank you, John. And I'm really pleased to do interviews. I really enjoy being with you. I really do.
And I love, and you've got the Pink Piggy Muppet there, haven't you?
Yes, I do. There she is.
There's
and this
Pink
is the
Piggy.
one. This is the one that I take to the schools. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's Pink Piggy, everybody. So, Linda, before we actually have a little brief insight into the book, would you care to tell people again who you are and what's the backdrop to this little latest book of yours?
Well, I am a children's author, and I'm a children's author that I write animal stories. And they actually are about life lessons, and children can learn from them, although they're taken from the animals themselves. And I've been doing this since about 2005. I spent a great deal of years, 20 or more, in museums in which we would teach the children with paintings. And that's kind of the opposite of the text that I'm doing now with the books. But it certainly gave me ideas for the books that I've done.
So, let's have a look at this latest book of yours. Now, when I open up the page, open up the book, Linda, the first thing, I love the characters Nini and her brother Lobo, the German Shepherd dogs. Where did the idea come from, the concept to write a book around two German Shepherd dogs?
I get my ideas from just other people that I meet or just things that I see in nature. And I had some neighbors that lived below me in Angel Fire, New Mexico. And they had, at one time, their dogs were dead then, but they had two German Shepherd dogs, Nina and Lobo. And Nina was the one who always liked to do the squeeze toy. a pink piggy squeeze toy. And that's where I got the idea from. I added, of course, our pack rat Speedy into the story. And I think, I think it's a cute story, or at least I feel like it's a cute story. And it's simply about, as you said, the pink piggy goes missing.
Mm. And as you can see, there's a cute pink piggy sitting on Linda's lap. It's adorable. It's a wonderful, wonderful little story. And who's this character you
This
just put there?
this is Speedy the pack rat, and he is a friend of Nini's and also of Lobo's. But Speedy is kind of mischievous, and he does, he gets into some trouble occasionally, even though he's a good friend.
He does get into trouble, everybody. So now you've told us where the concept came from, and now I can see why you've built this story. And yeah, I'm sorry, but for me, the favorite character in this book is Speedy the Pat Rack, everybody. I'm sorry. Linda's going to be very disappointed with me. She was hoping that I would say it's Pink Piggy, but no, it's Speedy the Pat Rack. I love the little Pat Rat. He's wonderful. He's sneaky. He's cunning. He's up to no good. Now, Linda, the illustrations, Linda, they are amazing in this book and they really bring the characters to life. I like the one where you've got the two dogs and you've got the pink piggy toy in Nini's mouth and the owner's in bed. So, how do
And,
these illustrations come to life? How do you create these illustrations? What's the work involved here?
and I'm going to show you that real quick, and I will answer your question, John. Here is the illustration that shows, I think you can see this. You can tell me if you can't, but there are the owners in bed, and there is Nini, and she's got Pink Piggy, and she's squeezing it during the night, and they're waking up. And there's her brother, Lobo.
So, do you enjoy working with the illustrator, Mike,
I
to create these magical illustrations?
I love working with Mike Minick. He's a great illustrator. He lives in a different town, but we can communicate obviously with phone or computer. But what I like about him is I will go ahead and write the story, my manuscript, and in the text of the manuscript, I will put on the sides or the margins of it what I want on that particular page, and then I'll, have him. I'll say, use Nini and Lobo or the pack rat or whatever, and then I'll do that for the entire book. There's 17 pages and 17 illustrations in it, and then he will send me copies of it, and then we go ahead and kind of get them up in better shape, etc. And then he will go ahead and draw them.
They are amazing, everybody. Not just this book, but in all her other children's books as well. There are so many of them. Now, I said to you, Linda, and I'm saying to everybody, for me, the favorite character is Speedy the Pat Rat. He's cute, he's adorable. But I'm just curious, Linda, where did, the idea of this, using a pack rat to form part of the story. So where's Speedy's origins? What's his purpose? Where's he come from? Why is he there?
The reason that Speedy is there, where he comes from, is that up in Angel Fire, there are a lot of rats, pack rats around. We have a lot of them. We had them in our garage. And so actually, we had a lot in our garage. They were getting in the wintertime because there's so much snow. And I can remember just sitting there and kind of watching in the garage. And I thought, as I was trying to develop the story, I thought, a pack rat. That's something that can get into the house through the doggy door. It's something, and I know that pack rats love getting all sorts of little bright objects that they find. And I thought, this would be a good one. So that's why. Plus the fact I think of Speedy the pack rat. All of my books need not a villain, But somebody like that's mischievous or that gets into problems or that causes trouble, so to speak. He's the antagonist, if you really want to know, of this story. And the protagonists, the heroes, obviously, are Nini and Lobo. So this is kind of what I do. And if you'll remember, John, you love the pack rat, you said. You also loved, of course, Zeke.
Oh,
And Zeke
Steve,
was
yes.
Zeke was a brother, and he was the same kind of character. Um, and I like to use characters that, let's say, are not perfect, just like us, just like humans, because we're not either. So that's one of the reasons. And kids love him. Kids love Speedy the pack rat because when you tell them that Speedy can poop, and when he poops, he has a little trail, and that's how the dogs were to follow him. But also because he's got that poop, it goes down into the ground, and then the seeds go into plants, and so that helps children learn. I like it when they learn about our environment and a lot of other things also. So, and Speedy fit perfectly.
I wondered where he came from. So it was your ranch in Angel Fire in New Mexico, which you lived. Linda lived there for quite a long time, everybody, up 10,000 feet up in the mountain range up there. And the only company she'd have in wintertime would be the bears and the cougars and the rats
Well,
and the dogs.
well, and yes, and my husband Mike, who was a
Uh,
great he was an inspiration for my books.
he
Mhm.
was. He was an
Yeah.
inspiration. He's behind you all the time. Now, when I look at, I loved in this book the illustrations of Speedy, and he's at the bottom of the tree. And also, I loved the illustration of he's got all the collections there. He's got a pink button, he's got a green object there, he's got looks like an acorn, all in his little cave or his little house, his little den, his little
And
nest.
he right, and
Yes.
there is in his den. And one of the things that I love to do with the children, my books are basically for second through fourth graders. And I like for them to learn vocabulary words. And I think in this particular scene with the nest that you would call his little den, it's also called a midden. And that simply is a word for nest and for the den. And so there's little Speedy, and he's looking out. But then when you're talking about this is what he has in his den. And like you said, they collect all sorts of trinkets. The odd thing, and it's not odd, but one of the things about them is that they can get a like a trinket, and then if they see another shiny object, they'll drop that one and then go to the next one. So when I'm doing my books, I'm also thinking about the plot and what's going to happen, and how would Speedy get the pink piggy, but perhaps Speedy might drop the piggy and go for another trinket. And so, because pack rats do that, it was perfect for this.
Now, does Speedy drop Pink Piggy? I don't know. Well, let's move on and the illustrations now and the storylines where Pink Piggy is in the air and Speedy is jumping to catch her. And then Nino and Lobo scowling over Speedy, who is refusing to hand back Pink Piggy.
That's exactly what this the illustrator Mike, and I can't say enough good things about him because he's fabulous, and I want him to get some recognition. And one thing he does so beautifully is he does the eyes of the animals and the expression on the animals, and that's hard to do because animals don't always have the same kind of you know expressions, but he certainly does. And I love this one with Speedy trying to catch Pink Piggy. And and then I also like it when Speedy really realizes that, boy, he's in trouble now. And maybe, just maybe, he might give Pink Piggy back because they're mad.
Where if he does give Pink Piggy back, who knows? And if you want to know what happens, well, you're going to have to get the book, everybody. Now, Linda, at the back of the book, like in most of your books, you have activities for the kids to do. Can you talk us through some of these? Why are they there? What's the whole purpose of these activities?
I definitely can. And the purpose of the activities, I think nowadays children spend a lot of time all over the world with iPads, etc. And they need to spend more time reading. They need to spend time learning vocabulary words, but it has to be done in a fun way so that they'll want to do it. And so if you use activities that are fun, then they will go ahead and do them and they'll enjoy them, such as the one in which right here in the very beginning, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to see it because of the sun, not the sun, but the glare on the window. But you can see where the children, the little ones, they got numbers in the names. So they're learning the names of the characters in the story, but they're also learning how to do the letters. And I think that that's very important, especially for the little ones. And then if you go along further in here, there are many different activities, but one in particular that's pretty good is putting the story in order. So the children really do, and I've noticed, at least at the schools that I go to, children really pay attention. Now they may be looking another way or they may be getting fidgety, but they really do pay attention to the story as long as you bring it to life. And that's the most important thing in my stories is I want to bring the children in the stories. And in this particular one, they have to put the story in order. And that simply they will number them. And so that would be a great activity for third graders. When I get on down into more of it, because I've got about 7 pages, and these activities were done by my granddaughter, Avery Smart, who actually was a 4th grade teacher. Also, Story Monsters. Story Monsters added a lot of these activities, and also just from my mind too. So this was teamwork, and just as children learn teamwork, so do we when we write. The author has her illustrators, she has her publishers, she has people like her family that help with these stories too. And so I really have enjoyed it with this. All right, fill in the blank. This is more for the 4th graders. And this is where you can give them the words and they simply will draw or write them in whatever word that goes with the sentence itself. So they're learning the formation of sentences, even though they already know that, but they're learning what vocabulary word would go in to whatever sentence. In other words, making sure that they use the correct vocabulary word so that they're not saying something like the color of Piggy was, and the child says the wind instead of saying pink. So they're learning a little bit more with words, etc. So that's what the back of it does.
Which is really, really good, everybody. So, Linda, the underlying message, the reason why you wrote this book, what's that? What are you trying to tell kids and young readers with this book?
Trying to tell them that honesty is the best policy and that being truthful with your friends is very, very important. And I always do determination or perseverance, which I think in all of my stories, they have teamwork, friendship. And so that's what and honesty. So basically that's what it is to learn the rules of engagement with their fellow classmates.
So, who do you want to see reading your books? Oh,
I'm going to be honest. I think I've actually handed out, especially the case of the Missing Pink Piggy in my neighborhood. It's a very young neighborhood. There are lots and lots of children that are ages like from birth on up to 10 or 12, whatever. But when I hand out my books, I'll have the parents come back and they'll say that they either were reading at bedtime to the children, or the children could read it themselves, but then the parents could actually talk to the children about that story. And I think that's really important, John. I think it's not just to read, it is to understand what you've read. And the only way you're going to do that is by having adults or, somebody, a friend or whatever, ask you questions about it. And then that way you know that you've comprehended it and you understand it. And I think that's really important.
And of course, an adult or a grandparent or a guardian or friend can sit with the child and go through the exercises and work with them. So therefore, creating and getting the child to enjoy books. That's important, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That is the most important.
Now, your books, I believe, are in several, formats. They're on softback, and I believe you do audio.
Yes, I do. And I can, if we got enough time,
Oh, we have
I
time.
met, okay, all righty. Then what we'll do is what I do in the classroom and what I did a couple of weeks at a school, and I did second, third, and fourth graders with The Case of the Missing Pink Piggy. And it is an audio book. So the children had a copy of my book and they started with the audiobook. They read the book as the audio was going on, and then I would stop it and go ahead and ask them questions at various points in the book so that they get both the audio and they also get the author asking them questions about it and trying to steer them a little bit. And so that works absolutely great. So right now, what I'll do.
We're just waiting for the audio to come in.
Welcome to Studio Story Monster Presents Little Monsters Read Along. I am Imi Dimott, your Little Monster narrator. Make sure to have your book handy so you can read along with me. Listen for the turning of a page to know when it's time to move on. Today we will be reading The Case of the Missing Pink Piggy by Linda Harkey, illustrated by Mike Minick. It was the best of dog winters. It was the worst of dog winters. Nini, the black and tan German Shepherd, nudged her brother. Both dogs were sitting in front of a dog bed piled high with toys. Lobo, where is my squeaky pink piggy? It's my favourite squeeze toy. The people gave it to me the first day we came to live with them.
Okay.
Yes, you can get the books in audio, everybody.
Yes, they can get it.
Linda, where can people get your books from?
They can get them on Amazon and they can get them on my websites, on my websites, which is harkeybooks.com and harkeyanimaltales.com.
So, Linda, do you think you can get Pink Piggy and Speedy to wave goodbye to us?
Oh, yes, I definitely can.
Here they are.
Oh, yes, I can.
So, Linda Harkey from Edmonton, Oklahoma State in the United States of America, thank you very much for coming on my show.
Okay.
And I simply say to everybody, I'm JT Crowley. Thanks for listening wherever in the world. Until next time, stay safe.